My name is Terry Schellenberg. I serve at CMU as Vice President External, and I want to extend a warm welcome to each one of you. We are very excited this afternoon to publicly announce a very significant capital project that we are undertaking, a new university library and a pedestrian bridge across Grant Avenue, a project that we believe will certainly strengthen this university programming for students, for faculty, and also serve to reach into our broader community in a very significant way. We are planning at an appropriate future time to also launch the public phase of our campaign. But at this time, as an extension of an open house that we held on Wednesday evening for the Charleswood and Tuxedo communities, we are pleased to announce this project commitment to the community more broadly. So thank you for joining us. It's my privilege to introduce a number of guests who have joined us this afternoon, and I will start here at the front. Premier of Manitoba, Dr. Greg Sellinger, CMU President, Dr. Gerald Gerbrandt, CMU President-Elect, Dr. Cheryl Pauls, Acting Deputy Mayor and Councillor for Charleswood Tuxedo, Ms. Paula Havixbeck, and the CEO of Golden West Broadcasting and the Chair of CMU's Capital Campaign Executive, Mr. Elmer Hildebrand. I also want to acknowledge and introduce various other guests from government circles who have joined us, and I'm simply going to ask that you raise your hand so that others who may not know who you are can identify you. Ms. Heather Stephenson, member of the Legislative Assembly representing Tuxedo constituency. Dr. Gerald Farthing, Acting Deputy Minister for Advanced Education and Literacy. Mr. Paul Vogt, Clerk of the Executive Council and Cabinet Secretary, Government of Manitoba, and Mr. James White, although I don't think James is here yet. We'll try to catch him later. James is the Policy Advisor from the Office for the Honourable Stephen Fletcher, Minister of State for Transport, Member of Parliament for Charleswood, St. James, Assiniboia. I also want to acknowledge a number of other guests whose presence here is significant for us. Mr. David Bergen, Executive Minister, Formation, Mennonite Church Canada, Dr. Earl Davey, Vice President Academic here at CMU, Abe G. Bergen, CMU's Campaign Director and Director of Development, and CMU Head Librarian, Dr. Victor Froese. Where are you, Victor? There you are back there. Thanks, Victor. Finally, I do acknowledge a number of our campaign executive members who are going to be introduced in just a few moments. And I want to welcome a number of board members, faculty and staff certainly, along with many friends and supporters of this university. Thank you for coming. Thanks also to media members who are here this afternoon. This time I want to ask Dr. Gerald Gerbrandt, CMU's President, to speak to us. Please, Gerald.
Premier Sellinger, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome each one of you this afternoon to today's announcement. CMU was established in 2000 by the Mennonite community in partnership with the province of Manitoba, with a vision not only to serve our own people, but the larger community, to make a positive contribution to the people of Manitoba. I will never forget the day we announced our name, the name of our new university, Canadian Mennonite University. It was an unbelievably cold, blustery April day on the east steps of the building in which we're now sitting. The high point was the speech made by the Honourable Jean Friesen, Deputy Premier of the province at the time. She concluded with what I took to be a challenge. And you can, she said to us, as you have demonstrated on so many occasions through your service to others, create a university which speaks to the world the language of truth, of peace, of service, and of faith. When I heard those words repeated, I realized how ambitious that vision was. Not only were we attempting to establish a new university with all the challenges that entails, we were attempting to establish one with a vision rooted firmly in the Anabaptist Mennonite tradition, a university which speaks into our world with the language of truth, peace, service, and faith. In many ways, that ambitious vision has been achieved, or perhaps more modestly, we should say, the foundations for achieving that vision have been established. Over the past 12 years, student numbers have grown substantially from Manitoba and across the country, from within the Mennonite community and beyond. Currently, roughly 50% of our student body comes from outside of the Mennonite community. This growing diversity in student body has been accompanied by a steady growth of program options. CMU's AUCC affiliation assures degree recognition across the country and internationally as students pursue further graduate or professional studies. We are a legitimate university, one that has particular strengths in areas which reflect the language of truth, peace, service, and faith. And yet it is not as if these four terms narrowly prescribe CMU. Our music therapy program is unique in the province. 2 years ago, we opened a new science laboratory, made possible with help from the federal and provincial government. We now can offer courses which provide students with the technical skills and sciences needed to enter into healthcare professional programs. And then, less than a year ago, we launched the Redicup School of Business through a gift of some $6.5 to $7 million from a family in British Columbia. Through this school, we aim to inspire and prepare a future generation of leaders and with business and entrepreneurial skills, along with the values of service and generosity. This major gift draws attention to one of the aspects of CMU that makes us unique in the province. Located in Winnipeg, we nevertheless are a national institution, drawing roughly 1/3 of our students and support from beyond the provincial boundaries. Today, we are pleased to announce a new project for CMU. 12 years ago, we purchased 500 Shaftesbury Boulevard, including this beautiful historic building from the province. Founders Hall, as we now call it, provides a wonderful home for the university. Together with the former CMBC campus on the south side of us, this has served us well. But our campus has had two major challenges. First, we really do not have an adequate library. Not only is the space currently allocated to our library in a dark, damp basement, it is grossly inadequate. And second, our campus is cut in half by a busy thoroughfare, namely Grant Avenue. The $11 million Library and Learning Commons and Pedestrian Bridge we announced today will address both of those, even as it will contribute to making CMU a more welcoming space for the larger community. You may ask, in our digital age, does a university still need a library? My simple response is absolutely. Of course, a library for the 21st century is different than the kind of library many of us used when we were in university. Basically, a warehouse for books with limited space for anything else. A contemporary library still needs space for books. Many of the books used by students and researchers are still not available in digital format. But it is so much more than a repository for books. A contemporary university library is a space which makes available to students, faculty, and members of the community the resources they need in a manner which inspires their use, individually as well as in groups. The space must be bright and inviting, comfortable yet functional. The new CMU Library and Learning Commons will do exactly that. It will provide users with multiple study spaces, with traditional carols, active, informal types of space, small group study space, all within an attractive building. Of course, it will have Wi-Fi available everywhere. a vibrant public cafe which will be used for university and public events, along with a bookstore, resource, and gift center contribute to the total package. And then there is the enclosed pedestrian bridge. Both for safety and accessibility considerations, the challenge of Grant Avenue must be mediated. The bridge will connect the new library to the classroom administration building on the south side of Grant, even as it contributes to the aesthetic quality of the community. I invite each one of you to familiarize yourself further with the plans as reflected in the poster boards behind me after this event. Today, we announce our plans to construct this library and learning commons, along with the pedestrian bridge. We are pleased at this time also to introduce those who are helping make this possible. FT3, the architects for the project, have already done much work designing a simple yet exciting plan. Could you stand? An important part of this. Thank you. Concord Projects will be the contractor for the project and is already working closely together with us to ensure that the project will come in on budget. Dan Gauthier from Concord. Thank you. Moving the vision for this project to reality will require further work. The first step in raising the financial resources required was putting together a campaign executive and cabinet. We are thrilled that Mr. Elmer Hildebrand, CEO of Golden West Radio, agreed to chair the campaign cabinet. He will say a few words later and introduce the rest of the members of the cabinet. Thank you for coming. I trust all of you and many more will join us for the grand opening of this exciting addition to the campus and the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. We feel honored this afternoon to have both Premier Sellinger and Councillor Havixbeck with us. Premier, I'd invite you to come speak to us now, followed, Paula, by yourself, please.
Thank you. And it's a great honor to be here today to launch this campaign. I'm joined, of course, by the MLA for the other area, Heather Stevenson, and the Clerk of the Executive Council, Paul Vogt, who seems to have some connection to the community and keeps us aware of all the priorities of the community. And we're very pleased to be part of your announcement today with the Canadian Mennonite University. Some of us have had contact with your campus as undergraduates, and later on with some of the graduates of the program. And you know, the graduates of the program make a great contribution to the province in many ways. So when we build a library, we're building a greater sense of community about that spirit of inquiry, those core values that guide our community going forward. And I don't know about you, but before the internet, when I used to go to the library, it wasn't the book you were looking for that was always the most helpful. It used to be the ones just around it, or in another row, in another set of stacks. It was that element of serendipity that often created the best references for something you were looking into. So a library is a place where people can go and discover things that they may not have intended to discover, but those discoveries are as important as what you might have been looking for, as long as you have the broad view. And I think the broad view of what we do in a university is the most important part of it, is that ability to create not just a person who has the skills in business or the skills in music or any applied discipline, but it's that broader sense of citizenship that comes from understanding deeply our own values and our own base of knowledge, and then being able to respect that in other groups of other diverse backgrounds. And I see in the room today people of diverse backgrounds, and I believe that as we invest in our post-secondary institutions and the citizens that we create and help educate coming out of them, we will have a stronger sense of community here in Manitoba, where so many of us have come from so many different parts of the world and now can call ourselves Canadians with all that diversity in our backgrounds. And universities help create those citizens. So I'm very pleased to support this project today. I think it's the kind of thing that will move us forward as a province as we welcome more people from around the world. They'll have an opportunity to go to a place where there's small classes, they get attention from the professors, they get to know each other, and they come out of there with that common sense of being a Canadian and contributing to the global community that we all live in. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very delighted to be here on behalf of His Worship Mayor Sam Cates, along with all of my City Council colleagues, and on behalf of the citizens of Winnipeg to say congratulations to you for this endeavor. Some may know I have also taught here as a sessional instructor over the past few years in public relations and entrepreneurship. And I noticed the lack of connectivity between the campuses as well as a community leader. I see the problems that are going to arise, could potentially arise as you grow. And I think that this is a true investment in our future. Our young people are our future. So many people don't realize that you can get an undergraduate degree, a graduate degree right here locally in our community. And I think that's very important for Winnipeg and for the immediate community. Faculties such as business, arts, theology, to name a few, and Christian faith with principle-focused values is very important in all walks of life. I think back to some of the students that I've taught, students like Michael Dirksen, who have gone on to Siloam Mission to manage the communications and public relations, and you see how much these students really give back to our community. It's more than just making money. It's about adding value and adding further opportunity for others in our society. Other students, I have one former student who has set up a blog, and she's working very closely now with Economic Development Winnipeg. And it's called Feels Like the First Time. And she's doing everything for a first. And just amazing things to help promote Winnipeg. So this project is more than about bricks and mortar and windows. It's about creating more opportunities for our young people in Winnipeg and from surrounding communities who choose to give back to their community. And this is a truly wonderful thing. So again, on behalf of His Worship Mayor Sam Cates and all of my City Council colleagues, congratulations, and I look forward to working with you as we continue with our next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you, Premier. Among the great privileges of those of us who are working on this project has been our association with a group of volunteer leaders who form our campaign cabinet. Their commitment and their generosity has been very significant and really appreciated. That executive, as was mentioned, is chaired by Mr. Elmer Hildebrand, who in the midst of many other pursuits flew from Banff early this morning, offers great leadership on behalf of CMU and of this project. And Elmer, I want to thank you for that leadership and ask that you come forward, please, now.
Thank you, Terry. Premier Sellinger, honored guests. Today really is an important milestone in CMU. When you think back just 12 years ago when everything started, and I know that some of the plans behind us have been talked about for probably 5 or 6 or 8 years. And it really got serious over the last couple of years to actually make something happen. When I was approached to chair the campaign, I was a little curious, having never gone to a college or university and just barely making it through grade 12. But the people that are in our cabinet, I know them all. They're respected business people, community leaders, and they all said, you know, this campaign would be done as a team, so it wouldn't be just my work, it would be our work. And so I'm very pleased that most of the cabinet members are here today. I'll ask them to stand. Janice Philman, Tamara Rohr, Bill Fast, Charles Lowen, Jake Rempel, and Albert Friesen. So these people, along with 2 cabinet members who couldn't be here, Phil Entz and Art DeFair, is the team that will make things happen. I'm also pleased to say today that we are already at 40% of our goal in contributions and pledges. And so as a team, we're very confident that the balance of the funds will be in place in the near future so that we can start construction in 2013. So I know that everybody is really excited about this project. The CMU board, the students, the faculty, everybody is, I think, looking forward to this, and with the support not only of the community at large, but the province and the city, I know that we'll be able to make this a real jewel for Charleswood. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Elmer. Any number of you are aware that CMU is entering a pretty significant leadership change over the coming months. On June 23rd, 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will be acknowledging and celebrating the many years of contribution of Gerald Gerbrandt at his retirement celebration. From July 1st to the end of November, CMU will be ably led by Interim President Earl Davey, presently serving as our VP Academic. And then on November 1st, we are going to welcome Dr. Cheryl Pauls as she begins her tenure as CMU's president, and anticipate very much the energy, the gifts that she's going to bring in serving and in leading this university. Cheryl, we're glad you're here with us this afternoon. Please speak to us now.
Premier Sellinger, honored guests, faculty, staff, students, and friends of CMU. It is a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you today. A library stands as a threshold. Sometimes when I get near this threshold, I feel short of breath, overwhelmed by the reams of good understandings of this world that I will never begin to comprehend, let alone learn to love, to debate, or further refine. Perhaps we share this jolting and humbling experience on occasion. Still, we know that's not the end, for a library performs as a bridge between virtually unlimited networks of the knowledge we take to be as everywhere present as the air we breathe, and those rare gems of understanding that good searchings and happenings unfurl. At this threshold, a library nourishes our imaginations. It offers the necessary time, expertise, and shared spaces to sort, sift, cull, discern, and assess, and open up new paths through the stunning gifts and the chaotic weight of what is remembered. Our gathering today marks our commitment to build a library in Bridge. This project will enhance the threshold work of Canadian Mennonite University as it serves to build vital understandings across the disciplines we practice, through the stories we live by, and amongst the people and peoples who flow to and from this place and all the places they go. I am grateful for the generosity of churches, corporations, individuals, and government. Your collective partnering enables this university to thrive. I will cherish your ongoing support, interest, and contributions to CMU, even as I affirm our ongoing commitment to be agents of inventiveness, wholeness, and transformation within the communities of this province and well beyond. Today, I offer thanks to President Gerald Gerbrandt for the courage, insight, and embracing grace of his exemplary leadership in this project and so very much else. I am thankful also for the generosity and wisdom of Mr. Elmer Hildebrand and the entire volunteer campaign cabinet, and for the good work of Terry Schellenberg, Abe Bergen, and the others who will carry this campaign forward. It is an honor and joy for me to join you in this project and to work together towards its completion. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. This brings to a conclusion a formal aspect of our program. The project is of significance for this university and clearly also, I believe, in terms of its contribution to the broader post-secondary fabric of Winnipeg and the province. And we're grateful for the interest of each one of you in being here this afternoon. Thank you. As we close, I'm going to ask our podium guests to remain briefly and invite members of our campaign executive to come forward so that we can get a couple of photographs together. As that's happening, I invite you to enjoy some refreshments provided over there. And as soon as those photos are done, we're going to move these chairs, and please feel free to come forward to take a look at the renderings behind me. I'd also note that we have staked out at the footprint of the project out on the field. Some of you may have noticed that, adjacent to Grant Avenue, and should your schedule permit, and you have interest in seeing that, A. Bergen and others of us would be pleased to walk out as far as you care to, following this, to take a look at the reality still to unfold. Thank you again for coming.